In my defense, the moon was full and I was left unsupervised. Witches have always been drawn to the moon, and especially the full moon. There is a magic and an emotional pull to that beautiful orb in the sky. Hi, my fuzzy witchy bumblebees, it's Ethony. Welcome back to my channel, and I am here to share with you some of the ways you can work with the magic and power of the full moon. Now, before I jump into the video, please note that my practice does not reflect the practice of absolutely every witch out there. So it is some of the things that I do for the full moon, and you may find that other witches have different practices, and that's okay. We love variety. So take what resonates with you, simply leave the rest, and I hope some of this inspires you. Now, let's talk about ways that you can work with the full moon. Now, these are just some of the ways you can work with the full moon and some of the most common things I do in my own witchcraft practice. All right, the first one has got to be spellcrafting and spell work. If you want to cast a spell, the full moon is a perfect time to do it. You can use the energy of the full moon to bring something into your life or to have something go away from your life. But know that any spell can be cast on the full moon. The second practice for the full moon is ritual and communion. Now, that is different to spell casting. Spell casting is you wanting to manifest a change and actually harness the powers of nature and the magical correspondences to bring or banish something from your life. Whereas ritual and communion is more about your connection to your deity, nature, and the world around you. It's more of a relationship building and communion place rather than asking the goddess for something in your life. The third practice, and one of my favorite things to do at the full moon, is divination. Now, no shocker there, because we all know tarot obsessed, but divination of any form is powerful at the full moon. So you could do some tasseography, which is coffee grounds or tea leaves. You can crack out your scrying bowl or mirror. You can do some wax divination. You use your pendulums, or like I love, do your cartomancy and tarot readings. All acts of divination are powerful under the full moon. And no, you don't need to do your practices under the light of the full moon in order for it to be powerful. The moon's energy is still there, shining down on everybody. But if you can get outside and soak up some of those moon rays, even better. The next practice is to make some moon water or holy water. This is where you would bathe water that is either spring or purified in a container out under the full moon. Now, you can also put a lid on it so buggies don't get in it, but it is a way to soak up all of that powerful energy into the moon water. Then what you can use that moon water for is in aura sprays or in spell jars, or even as a base for things like Florida water. Moon water is incredibly versatile, and you can create new water every single month. Even more powerfully, if it's raining on a full moon, go out and collect some. That is magic water for sure. Even snow gathered by the full moon can be used as well. Storm water is exactly the same thing. If it's storming, go put out some containers and get that water so you can use it in your magic. The fifth practice is a very common one, which is charging your magical tools and crystals. So if you're using your magical tools and crystals, and even things such as tarot decks, what you can do is pop them on your windowsill every full moon and allow the energy of the full moon to soak it up and bring all of those wonderful, beautiful goddess vibes into your deck. Not only will it charge it, but it will also cleanse it of any leftover energy or dross. It's basically like sticking all of your stuff in a mystical charger so you can work with it for the next month. The next practice that you can do during the full moon is astral travel, and you can also do some lucid dreaming practice. So astral travel is where you get into a state where you project your body astrally to a place. It's basically exactly as it sounds. You're astrally traveling. Now, if you watched Charmed like I did and maybe was like obsessed with, they actually go into astral travel in a couple of the episodes, but this is more like real. I wish everything worked like Charmed sometimes, minus the demons, but I would really love to be able to orb. That'd be super cool. Be like, meow, tarot deck. All right, it'd be so cool. So cool. So astral traveling is projecting your astral body to a different place, and you can actually look around in the real world and the material world as to what is happening at that time. Now, it does take practice, and you can read more about astral traveling on lots of books and on the internet as well. This is definitely not an astral travel sort of how-to, but you can astral travel during the full moon. Lucid dreaming is when you are aware that you are dreaming and that you can control your dreams as well. I have been able to lucid dream since I was a young child because it was how I actually learned to control the nightmares that I was having. Lucid dreaming is also something that you can learn. So if actually working in the astral and in your dreaming space is something you feel really drawn to, try using the power of the full moon to help you get really good at this practice. Of course, you can do absolutely anything at the full moon. You can have a dinner party or even a Zoom party because, you know, everyone's online at the moment. You can create your crafting tools. You can make magical stews and potions. It's really up to you, but those were definitely some of the more predominant and easy practices that you can do during a full moon. There are multiple phases that the moon goes through every single cycle, but there are 4 main ones that you may hear come up in a lot of texts, a lot of videos, and also ritual information. Phases of the moon will look completely different in the northern and southern hemisphere. It was something that really spun me out when I moved, and I realized that things look actually different when it comes to the moon. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, your new moon is going to look different. The first is the phase of the new moon. So the new moon, when that little slither is present, means that it is a time for you to start new projects. You can set your intentions and manifestations for the cycle and actually really start to pinpoint the type of work you want to do. It is a time of new beginnings, setting intentions, and actually going after new goals. The waxing moon is when the moon is going from the new moon to the full moon. And every single night there's going to be more of that light shining as it goes and grows in power. When you want to work with a waxing moon, you are going to be doing kinds of magics, manifestations of bringing things to you and increasing anything. So it could be increasing power, increasing love, increasing wealth, health, anything that you want to bring into your life. Now the full moon is when she is big, bright and beautiful, just like me, and is shining down for everyone to see. Now the full moon energy is no joke, and I'm sure there are other witches out there who are like me and find it very difficult to sleep during a full moon. Emotions can run high, psychic visions can be really on point. It's a great time for divination. And it's actually been proven there are more 911 and emergency calls during a full moon than any other time of the month. So you've got to know those first responders love it at the full moon. The next one is the waning moon, and this is the time after the full moon when the power and the light of the moon actually starts to wane or diminish. During this time, magics of dispersion, of energy leaving, banishing, and withdrawal are perfect. The last phase that you're going to hear about is the dark of the moon, and that is when there is absolutely no light shown at all. Now, this can sometimes be confused with the new moon, where there is a small slither of light, but the dark of the moon is exactly that, when there is no light being shone from the sun and bouncing back to the earth. Now, all of these moon phases are going to differ in regards to when they actually move into them, depending on your geographic location. So if you want to find out when the moon is moving from new to full or waxing to waning, make sure you get a good moon app on your phone, such as this one, so you can pop in your location and find out the exact time the moon moves from one phase to another. They'll also tell you the different astrological signs that it moves into as well, so you can use those correspondences in your magic. If there is a group of people who tells you you can't do a certain workings on the full moon, that may be more about their background, their practices, and what they believe to be true. As I always say, it has to make sense for you. But I have been coming to the full moon with absolutely every kind of working, and it's all worked out for me. Does your juju feel a little off? Have you lost your mojos? If so, it could be your environment that is making things a little wackadoo for you. So make sure you check out this video where I go through how to cleanse your spiritual space. Because we all love good vibes, right? You don't need to be hanging around the bad vibes. Kick them out. Tell them to stop paying rent or leave. Sorry, I can't. It's a full moon. I've got hot witch shit to do.